Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for the front 9 of the Redzone Rivals 18-hole cup, a full 18 of the beautiful Pebble Beach. In this playthrough I'm focusing on free-to-play balls, mainly to use Kingslayers and Luminaries and such, for you to notice that you don't have to use just premium balls to be able to be competitive here in Master. Also have in mind that it's general wins, these are not the wins that you're getting in the tournament. However, though, if you do want to have content for the wins that you are getting in the tournament for Master Division, sign up on patreon.com/golfclashtommy by scanning the QR code or using the link in the description down below. Free-to-play ball alternatives and also payball alternatives. Check out the package that is called Master Max, or you go directly to the cup package, or last but not least, you can also do a one-time purchase by purchasing the latest post on Patreon. You can find information on the right hand side here on the screen for club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, and also what ball and club type I do suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. So let's go to hole. Everybody, and welcome to Pebble Beach, hole number 1, or hole number 1 of the Pebble Beach. And we're starting at P6 max rest with max topspin and as much right spin that we can with our beautiful looking Kingslayer. Now, if we do have a headwind, I would probably back up or play with a ball with more power. Using approximately 2 balls of right curl, I do want the ball to get down the fairway, because the fairway goes kind of like, not 90 degrees, but kind of close to that, left to right, and also I feel that the fairway slopes a little bit as well. But other than that, flat and nice. I play this drive with no elevation, because I do feel that there are no downhill, there are no uphill, so my call there is to play no elevation on the drive. Second shot, I then play with my Thorn, and here you can play with Falcon, you can play Hornet, and whatever short iron you prefer, but Thorn is my general go-to club. Here I'm trying to look for good spots here and deciding to just go straight at it with no spin. Now, you can probably dabble into doing a little rough bump, or you can go on green with max backspin or more backspin, or just bounce it on the fairway here. It's kind of up to you what you prefer to do in a scenario like this. No matter what though, this is going to be a good chance to start off with an eagle. And you could kind of notice here that we are not playing with a heavy power ball here on hole number 1. We are playing with a power 6 ball, and obviously we do have a lot of power 10 ball we can use as well to maybe try to get even closer towards the green, and therefore we can have a wedge. We could possibly even get to green. I would say, especially in tailwind, we can most definitely get to green without really trying that hard. But in the end, it's just have to be a little bit careful when it comes to the rough line there on the left hand side. We kind of need to have at least a lot of curl or a lot of side spin when it comes to the drives. We at least stay on the fairway. Scan the QR code here on the screen or go directly to patreon.com/golfclashtommy for the ultimate tournament text guide for Master Division for the Pebble Beach 18-hole cup. You can also find way for hole number 2 of the Pebble Beach. You can see the beautiful view here, and you can see also that this is a very straightforward par 5 where the fairway is slightly sloping left to right. Now I'm playing a P6 NMT, and what that means is that I'm not touching the target until it's time to adjust the rings. Now I only do that because it's a tailwind. If I would be having a headwind or possibly a crosswind, I would probably choose a different type of strategy here. But my intention here is to get this ball as far forward on the fairway possible without putting too much difficulty into the drive. You can see I'm using all the top spin that I can, a little bit of right spin, adjust max plus 5% elevation. I judge this one to be slightly downhill on the drive, and therefore I put the elevation at 5. Second shot, we're now going to be in long iron range, and here I would prefer massively to play with a long iron that do give me a good ball guideline. So it's either a Grizzly level 7 plus or a B52 level 7 plus. Leaving the ball guideline slightly short. Why do I do that? It's because we do have tailwind, and whenever we have a tailwind, we will have some extra push from the wind. That's the same if we do have a headwind. I would be leaving the ball guideline through the hole, if so, because the headwind will compress the ball guideline and we don't get the same push, obviously. Crosswind, we aim at the hole, and that's obviously the easiest way. 10% elevation is what I judge the second shot to be. That could, as always, be argued with to be slightly different, but that's my call in the end, to play with a 10% elevation. But don't be afraid to mixture with the elevation or the rest of the setup to suit the outcome, because that's what matters in the end. Good chance here, in my opinion, on pretty short par 5, where we definitely are hunting for the albatross. Some things to add in the end is, like, if we do have a tailwind, we will obviously be much closer to hole, possibly with a topspin boost. We could maybe go over the rough and the sand there in the middle and actually be for a wedge, or maybe even on green. That's obviously speculation, but something to have in mind. Hello everyone, and welcome to hole number 3 of the Pebble Beach, and here we're gonna play a short par 4. And you can see here that I'm playing a P0 NMT, which is that I'm starting with a basic ball, and wherever the club opens, that's where I'm going to have my target. Now, this works because we do have a tailwind. If we would be having a headwind, that wouldn't really work. Then we would have to move the target more right and to aim on the fairway using a lot of side spin and also a decent amount of curl. That's why the beautiful clubs such as the Apocalypse is perfect in this scenario. Now, getting fairly close to the rough line there on the left, but it's all accounted for. Here I'm actually going for green. Now, even if you would be going a little bit long or a little bit short, you can see how close we are to the hole here. And from the rough there, especially if we do feel that we do want to play with a precision ball, it's going to be a very easy drop from there. But with a little bit less topspin, we could obviously be putting. I don't really see the hole-in-one being a possibility because the pin stands behind the bunker, but it's still going to probably be someone that like fluke one in or something like that with some really crazy bounces and such. I played the drive plus 15, so 15% elevation. Now, in the end, to just kind of summarize that, with a tailwind, we're definitely going for green. In a crosswind, I would say that we're doing that too. But once we do get in a headwind, I would recommend to move the target more right and then aim on the fairway to push the ball as close to the green possible, which will still in the end result into you having a wedge towards the pin. Welcome to hole number 4 of the Pebble Beach. Another very short par 4 where we are most definitely, regardless what wind we have off tee, we will be going for green. This, in my opinion, is also a very good chance for an hole-in-one. And the reason I feel that way is because if we're just trickling down onto the green, we could see ourselves in that case to roll maybe just onto the hole and to get it to drop. Now I'm using all but one top spin and all the left spin with my Kingslayer. Now you don't have to use all the left spin, you can move your target a little bit right, sorry, a little bit left if you would so like, but I wanted to play an NMT with a power 0 ball. And you can see here how this ball rolls up. If I would be just be using a little bit more topspin, you can see how it slopes down towards the pin. And that is my estimation of thinking that we will be seeing some hole-in-ones on this one, because I do really believe that we can definitely play this one almost like a par 3, trying to pinging it down there, and in a worst case scenario, we're going to have a tap into the eagle or just a very short wedge. Play the drive max plus 10, so 10% elevation is what I'm using here. And just because I'm using a specific ball here, this is a typical hole that you can play with so many different type of club and ball combinations that is just up to you to decide what you feel confident with. Take your game to the next level with our ultimate tournament text guides for Master Division for the Redzone Rivals 18-hole Cup. We are creating content for the qualifying round and for the final round for this 18-hole Cup and the beautiful Pebble Beach. Go to our platform patreon.com/golfclashtommy by using the link in the description down below or scanning the QR code. There you can find our packages. We are including the 18-hole cups in our max package, so Master Max. Or if you want to just have the cups, then you can go directly to our cup package. Last but not least, if you do want to just buy for a one-off tournament, you can do so as well. by purchasing the latest post on Patreon. So many different ways for you to improve and enjoy your tournament game a little bit more with the 18 Hole Cup. When it comes to the content that we are providing, it's free to play options together with the paintball options on every hole, and we are trying to do our best to give you a chance for drops when it comes to all the par 3s, par 4s, and the par 5s. Hello everyone and welcome to hole number 5 of the Pebble Beach. This is the first par 3 in the mix of the 4 par 3s that we do have over the 18 holes. Here you can play in different ways. I feel that the rough bump is very glitchy, so I kind of dabbled into doing a little NMT, which I've seen a couple of times already in amongst my hole guide. So here I'm using almost 5 backspin and like 1 right spin. Adjust with mid plus 15. Now, I want to be perfectly clear that when it comes to par 3s, I'm not firm with using the same elevation all the time. It's all about finding the adjust that kind of works for the rest of the setup. My intention with this type of play is to land on that sloped bank to push the ball right. You can see how it goes like boink and it down to the right. And now you can see a little bit unlucky getting short in line, but definitely giving ourselves a chance. You could possibly use a Guardian with a lot of backspin to land on the green, but I do think after doubling into this par 3, looking around for different spots, that the rough bump is definitely one that, I mean, it is a possibility. There are some good spots, but they aren't that big, and I kind of enjoy the NMT as well, where we don't really have to think about using a different aim point. But again, as par 3s are, and especially with hole number 5 that we haven't played that often, is definitely up to each and every one to find a nice and a groovy spot. Welcome to hole number 6 of the Pebble Beach, a par 5, which is, I would say it's not that long, but the second shot, in my opinion, is quite finicky, and we're gonna look at that soon. Here, you know, as you've seen so many times on the front 9 holes here, I'm playing an NMT, especially when I do have some tailwind, as I can then start with my power 6 ball, the Kingslayer, and just use all the top spin and 3 left spin. And then my intention here is to get this ball as far down the fairway possible. You can use less topspin and then use more overpower and get the same type of outcome. But the intention here is to look at the way to play this hole. And I believe that just pinging this ball as far down possible here is the best way to go. Max plus 15 is what I'm playing on the drive. So 15% elevation is what I judge the drive to be due to the slight downhill element. Second shot now. This is going to be an uphill play, and I judged the elevation to be -10. But look at the ball guideline here. There are so many different type of ball guideline positions. So you can see that I'm just backing up a little bit. I have a flatter first bounce. If I'm moving up, I have a higher first bounce. And if I do move too much to the right, I do have a glitchy ball guideline. You know, there are so many things to consider here with this type of second shot that I'm doing a bounce up here, but it's not really a superb creation. Sure, what can you expect with a practice token only to be used? But in the end, if looking at this from a dial-in perspective when it comes to tournaments, I would say that I would probably go towards using some sort of a sand bump on the right, or some sort of a rough bump on the right, or possibly use the Guardian to use with backspin if I do have a wind that would allow me to do so on the approach. So definitely a finicky par 5, I would say. Out of the 18 holes of Pebble Beach, I do think that this is, just considering the second shot, being one of the tougher. Hello everyone, welcome to hole number 7 of the Pebble Beach, another par 3. Here you can see we don't really have many spots to play from. Sure, you can go for a little glitchy sand bump, you can go for a glitchy rough bump, or you can bounce on the fairways down below. I mean, there are different ways of going about it, but for me, the way that I felt was consistently good with a few practices that I spent on this hole was that I played on the left side rough there. And we are here going to play in the video I place 0 elevation, but I'm actually going to change that to -5 because that's what I'm going to note down as the true elevation for this part 3, because we're playing slightly uphill. You can see here we're landing a little bit far back, or not a little bit far, but we're landing short, which means that we are landing, you know, low off the hole, and that's always not something we do want to do. But like I said, this is an alternative to many different ways of playing this par 3, so don't be afraid of looking into different things if you do feel that this rough bump may look a little bit aggressive for you. But as you can see, if you rewind and look at the first bounce, it actually have quite a lot of room for making some different type of mistakes. But an interesting par 3 that looks easier than what it is. If you do Hello everybody and welcome to hole number 8 here for the Pebble Beach, and we are going to start by looking at the drive. Now you can see that we do have some bushes and a lot of rough, and then obviously a lot of water on the right. Now when having headwind, you are forced to lay up on the first fairway, but if you do have a crosswind and also a tailwind, then you can actually bounce over and get directly onto the fairway on the over the water or over the rough or bushes or whatever you want to call it, and that's obviously going to make for a much easier second shot. But we are laying up here in the headwind. The drive is a -5% elevation, slight uphill elevation in my opinion, and then you can see that we're playing pretty massively downhill there on the approach, at least when being on this fairway. If you bounce over, the difference between, let's put it this way, if you're bouncing over the bushes and the rough, then you will have a short iron towards the pin. If we land on the fairway before that, we're going to have a long iron or a wood club towards the pin. The reason I'm going for a rough bump here is that if you're looking to bounce on the fairway, it has this weird little mound on the green on the right side that just doesn't make the second shot to come in that well. So I was trying to be a little bit smart here and to do a rough bump and to try to let the ball roll up the green and then fall back down. Now, if you're studying my ball guideline position, you can also see that I'm actually missing exactly where I aimed. So if I would have just had the ball guideline to the hole, we would have gotten a drop in this instance. 20% elevation here on the second shot. It is a very massive downhill play, so just be careful with that so you're not misjudging the adjustment and going directly into the sand or into the rough. But a finicky par 4, I would say, if you are not allowed to get over the bushes and the rough there in the center on the drive. Hello everyone and welcome to hole number 9 of the Pebble Beach, and here I'm going to start with a power 10 ball such as the Luminary and to play an NMT. Max topspin and 2 right spin, we are adjusting max plus 10. Once we have adjusted, I'm going to push hard here. I'm going to utilize all that tailwind and get this ball as close to the green possible. Now for those of you being able to play with a paid ball, could consider using like a topspin boost ball or something like that, and can get you, if not very close, but actually on to the green. And that's kind of both the good and the bad thing with these type of par 4s of the Pebble Beach, that there are many opportunities really, and obviously the closer we are to the green here, the shorter wedge it will be, or obviously a putt. But make sure to not go too long because it's water after the green, and if you roll down there, that's obviously problematic. Half a ball of curl, and I played with max overpower there as well. Second shot, it's a wedge. I would say here the only thing to think about, especially when it comes to the longer wedge and also being more on the left hand side of the fairway, is that you kind of want to try to find a spot that doesn't have that glitchy ball guideline. So I went up onto the green and I applied a little left spin, a little back spin to allow myself having the first bounce on the green. Now when it comes to wedges, even though they look very simple, but especially if you do play with a lot of wind, like 10 miles per hour plus, it's definitely something that will be a bit tricky if you're not spot on looking at your slider percentage when it comes to doing the EB School. Can absolutely recommend to have a watch at the videos about EB School here on YouTube to get yourself a better idea. Then you don't have to do mistakes that I was all very close on doing there. But in the end, got myself the eagle and we move on. Thank you everybody for watching this playthrough for the front 9 of the Pebble Beach in the Redzone Rivals 18-hole cup. And as you've seen, it's free-to-play ball options that I've been focusing a lot on, trying to give you the best possible advice on how to attack these beautiful holes of the Pebble Beach. If you're looking for the back 9, check out the channel as well for that. It's up and running on the channel too. If you're looking to improve your game even more, just join our patreon.com/golfclashtommy for our ultimate tournament text guide for this 18-hole cup, and obviously for future tournaments as well. Free to play ball alternatives and paid ball alternatives. Link in the description down below, or scan the QR code.